Hi everybody! So I'm really excited for this video. I did a post a couple of months ago on my blog, which if you're not following my blog, definitely I'll put a link down. Please go and follow it because I put a lot more reviews on the blog than I do on my channel because it's a lot easier for me to do. So definitely make sure you're following that, and I think you'll really enjoy the content that I am creating. But a couple of months ago on my blog, I did a post called Movies from Every Year of My Life. And the idea is I'm creating a movie festival from my life. And so there would be one movie for every year that I've been alive. I'm not going to go into that much detail in all of these because I have a lot to do. I have 34 movies to talk about and I don't want it to be 40-minute long video. So I'm going to go through them pretty quickly, but you can certainly you can ask me why I picked whatever I do, and we can go from there. So 1981 is the first year of my life, and I picked Raiders of the Lost Ark. Great action adventure, and great lead character, Indiana Jones, and just a lot of fun. 1982, I went with another Steven Spielberg, and I went with E.T., which is just a heartwarming, wonderful story of a boy who kind of finds out more about who he is through helping this. 1983, I have the Christmas classic, The Christmas Story, about the boy who all he wants is a Red Ryder BB gun air rifle. I love it. I think it's hilarious, and I just think it's got real heart to it. 1984, I picked Amadeus, which is a great movie about envy and how other people, you can allow them to kind of control your life and get inside your head, and you can't let it go. 1985, I have the blockbuster hit Back to the Future, which is just so great, so charismatic, such a fun story. I love time travel in movies. In 1986, I have Ferris Bueller's Day Off, which is another comedy that has a lot of heart to it, with Cameron kind of coming to realize that he needs to confront his father, but it's also very, very funny. 1997, I have The Princess Bride. Princess Bride is a great live-action fairy tale. It's got villains and sword fighting and giants and storming the castle and romance and everything you could want in a fairy tale. 1988, I picked Who Framed Roger Rabbit. And Who Framed Roger Rabbit is just, for an animation fan, it's such a delight because you have Bugs Bunny and Mickey Mouse in the same scenes, in the same movie. You have Donald Duck and Daffy Duck in the same movie, and that's just such a treat. And it's a really good movie. Beyond that, it's very creative. I love Jessica and Roger Rabbit as a couple. 1989, I have one of my favorite movies. I have The Little Mermaid, which I just love. I love the message of someone trying to find out who they are, where they belong, knowing that they're not comfortable in their own skin. The music, and it's a movie that meant a lot to me as a little girl. 1990, I have Home Alone, which is one of my favorite comedies. I think it's hilarious. It's the first movie that I ever really remember laughing hard at the theater. I think for me, as a kid who didn't really like being a kid very much, the idea of sort of the kid being smart enough to protect the house and go and get groceries and do the laundry and all of that stuff, that was so appealing to me as a kid. 1991, I have Beauty and the Beast. Classic, gorgeous, beautiful story about forgiveness and love and coming in unexpected ways. Great villain, a lot of humor to the villain. It looks great, great songs, great voice casting, everything you could want. 1992, I have Howard's End. This Merchant Ivory movie with an amazing cast. It's got Anthony Hopkins, Emma Thompson, and Helena Bonham Carter. I love the book. It's one of my favorite books. I love this adaptation. It's such a rich movie where even characters that are very minor, you get a whole arc, you get a whole story, and it's all about how the different classes in England at the time, how they all kind of come in conflict with one another. In 1993, I have Schindler's List. It's a brutal movie. It's really hard to watch, but it is incredibly important to watch. So important to know about the Holocaust and what happened. And I have The Lion King, which is just a great epic animated film. It's got great heart, great voice performances, an amazing villain. It looks gorgeous. Scenes like the stampede, The opening, the circle of life. The music I'm less crazy about. Some of the comic relief is not my favorite, but it's still an immensely satisfying film. 1995, I have Clueless. It was one of my favorite comedies ever. I think it's hilarious. It's an update on the story of Emma. I love the writing. I just think it's funny. 1996, I have Fargo, which is an amazing murder mystery story. Such a likable lead character in Margie, and played by Frances McDormand. And it's just a beautiful film. The Coen brothers do a great job with the cinematography, creating the bleakness of North Dakota. 1997, I have Gattaca, which is probably my favorite science fiction movie. Society that values genetic purity, and that people that are naturally conceived are less valid. And Ethan Hawke's really great in it. It looks beautiful. It has great chemistry with Uma Thurman in it. 1998, I have Saving Private Ryan, which is also, I think, really important to watch. It is brutal as well as Schindler's List, but it is so moving, and it's, I think, the best war movie ever made. 1999, I have another science fiction classic in The Matrix. And this is such a thoughtful movie. It's one that I love movies where you can get together with your friends and discuss it and all have different sort of thoughts and ideas. The sequels were a bummer, but I still think it really holds up, and the Wachowskis did a great job. 2000, I have another comedy, and it's Best in Show by the Christopher Guest team, and I just think it's hilarious. It makes me laugh. 2001, Spirited Away. Miyazaki's masterpiece. It's so different. Like every scene, I'm like, oh my gosh, I had no idea what was going to come, no idea whether we're going to get the giant baby or the boy that turns into cranes, or just, it's so visually beautiful and different and exciting and gorgeous. 2, I have About a Boy. It's a great romantic comedy. It's so well written. Hugh Grant is wonderful in it. It's funny. It's got heart. 2003, we have Lord of the Rings, The Return of the King. This is a classic end to the best trilogy probably ever. It's definitely the best fantasy trilogy ever released. And it's also got great heart. I love Samwise. He becomes the heart of the story. And of course, it looks great. It's just a really wonderful, gripping fantasy story. 2004, I have The Incredibles. And it's just a great superhero story it's also a really fun movie about work and how when you're not doing what you're called to do, you're just never going to be happy. And it's also a really nice movie about family, and it looks great. Great voice performances. 2005, I have Walk the Line. I love it. I love the music. I love Johnny and June Cash. I love their story. I like the performances. I just love it. 2006, I have Casino Royale, which is definitely my favorite Bond movie. It's one of my favorite, action movies. I think the stunts are amazing, but it also has like real heart to it. I think it's the first James Bond movie where he felt like a real person to me. 2007, I have Juno, which I love. I just think it's brilliant. I love the writing. I love the heart to it. I think Ellen Page is great. Yes, she's snarky, but she feels like a real person to me as well. 2008, I have Slumdog Millionaire, which I just love. I love the way that the two characters remain very innocent through their love, through all this horrible things that are swirling around them. It just looks gorgeous, and great performances, and it's just one that I'm just so pulling for them to succeed. 2009, I have 500 Days of Summer, which was so creative. It was so different. I love the ending so much. Music, I love the idea that you can still learn something from a relationship, even if they're not like the one. And it takes all the conventional parts of romantic comedy and it kind of turns it on its head. 10, I have Inception. Another movie that you can, kind of like The Matrix, where you can finish it and everybody will have a different idea. The special effects are amazing. It's just so thoughtful. It's like a puzzle. 2011, I have the 7th Part 2 Harry Potter. I don't like this trend of splitting a book into 2 movies. I just don't think it ever has worked. And I do not like the first one. I think it's very boring. But the second one I thought was great and so satisfying. It's such a great way to sort of end these characters that I'd grown to love. 2012, I have The Perks of Being a Wallflower, which is one of my favorite movies ever. I went and saw it 3 times in 1 week when I saw it because it just inspired me so much. And it felt like it was part of it felt like it could have been filmed in my high school with my friends. And it's dark but it's also very funny. And I loved the characters so much. 2013, I have Gravity, which when it came out, I said that it was a masterpiece, and I still stand by that. It was so stunning. It's a movie that I'm so glad I saw in the theater because it was an experience almost like an amusement park ride. I felt almost like I was in zero gravity. I mean, I saw it on IMAX, and IMAX 3D, and it felt so real. And I felt like it did such a great job of being very well edited. And so there wasn't time for me to sort of sit back and be like, ooh, this probably couldn't happen, or this isn't very realistic, because it was just boom, boom, boom. The next thing happened. And it's a thriller in space. And then now we get to 2014, and I have Boyhood, which was a movie experience I will never forget. Richard Linklater is such an amazing director. I just think Boyhood is such a moving picture about this is a person's life, and these are the small moments that make up a life. And this is this teacher talking to you at that moment, and this person at that moment, and this friend at that moment, and made me think about those moments in my life. And it's not a movie that you go to be entertained. It's a movie you go to think about your life and to try to be a better person. For 2015, I haven't really seen a great movie yet for 2015. I had put down on my blog, I'd put down Selma. I know that's technically a 2014 release, but I think that would be certainly a worthy choice of something I saw this year that was a great movie, and an incredible lead performance, and just a stirring depiction of the civil rights movement and this moment in Selma. Something that's important, I think, just like Saving Private Ryan and Schindler's List, to know about and be aware of, and make sure that that kind of discrimination doesn't happen anymore, to try to reduce it at least. So that is my movie festival, and I hope you guys enjoyed it. But I will go ahead and tag the Teen of Little Hollow, so you can go ahead and make a video about the movies from your life. I'm going to go ahead and tag Paleostino, who does really great movie reviews, and I'm 5 Stone Media, who does great Christian reviews. If you haven't checked out all these channels, I'll put a link down in the description. You can check them out. But that's my tags, and I hope that y'all have a great day, and I will talk to you later.